So I want to hear from you. I mean, honestly, you're doing more than your best, because the fact that you're killing it and you're a busy mom and you're really incredible at what you do. And I know we've done stuff together, and
Yes.
I just want to hear from you on your take on what it takes.
What it takes to do it all, literally. Yeah, I mean, the times that I think about quote unquote doing it all, it's really sometimes like a feeling of overwhelm that will happen occasionally. And when I really try to peel that feeling back, it comes back to goals, so how do you kind of know how you're doing if you don't have a map of goals? I think so, it's so easy to go on Instagram to scroll to see what other agents are up to, and that can be very distracting. So I think it's really better to just kind of focus on yourself and your own goals, do that sort of check-in. I try to do it more often, more often than I probably should. But yeah, I think that's really how I kind of know, if I'm balancing it all.
And I feel like what we were talking about yesterday, which I loved, is this idea of why overwhelm comes for us sometimes, and like how you manage and how you pre-frame when you're overwhelmed, what that means and what you need to focus on instead, so that you can kind of get out of the overwhelm.
Yeah, so I just started reading the book Essentialism, but realizing like, wait, I think I'm already practicing that, because for me personally, it's really, knowing who I need to show up for, like who needs me at my best right now, and then kind of prioritizing from there. So, if it's a client who like needs me on my A game right now, that's who I show up and I'm there for. And knowing just, that everything else will get done, right? So if that's the priority,
Right.
But I think, again, it's the times when I don't have the priority, when I'm not, kind of working off of a plan, that I do feel lost, or I do feel that overwhelm, or I do feel like I'm not, giving my best to my kids, right? Showing up later than I would want, because if I'd had a plan, I could have like actually made school pick up or whatever,
Right.
if it was
Right.
scheduled, right? So scheduling, I think, would be the other tip for sure.
Yeah.
But with scheduling also comes boundaries, so is that a time where, you're not meeting with clients? Is that a time where you've worked in the office all morning, so you're able to do pickup? Or maybe it's the reverse, right? So maybe you are doing drop off and then heading to the office, and really
Right.
like checking in with yourself. Like if you're a morning person, like that sounds great. I'm so not. I just have never been. So for me, pickups are definitely something that I look forward to.
And I feel like you're really good at boundaries. Like, I feel like one of the things that I admire about you, and I feel like you can, kind of talk more about this, is how, you're really good at saying like, this is what I'm good at. This is how I want to do things. And
Yes.
I'm going to be really good at outsourcing the rest.
Yes. Yes. So definitely hire for your weaknesses would be my other tip for sure. So as you know, I have a virtual assistant who,
Mm-hmm.
all the sort of tasks that I just like get bogged down and like immediately like feel depleted when I see like that
Mm-hmm.
email in my inbox from like a managing agent about an application. I know that
Mm-hmm.
Noelle, my virtual assistant, that, it's a delight for him to be able to cross this off of his to-do list. So having, someone really compliment my weaknesses it's definitely been key.
Have you noticed, like, well, how long have you had that infrastructure in place again?
So only since the beginning of this year. So yeah, so I think, if we're talking to agents who are early on in their career, I would definitely say, try as much as you can, whether it's working, on a team, working with a developer, working for yourself, because that was really how I like honed in on my strengths. It was definitely a process of elimination, definitely trying a bunch of different things. And then realizing, personally, I really enjoy business development. I really enjoy client relationships. So how do I spend most of my time doing that? And it's, for me, initially it was scary to make a huge investment, but an investment in a virtual assistant seemed a little bit more reasonable. And I'm so glad that I did it. I think that would be my best advice for someone who's, a little further along in their career, not quite ready, for this huge investment, but ready to do something different.
Totally. I totally can see that. We're getting a question. Let's
For
see.
sure.
It's hard for me to hear my kids telling me that they don't like how much I work, and I just started. They're feeling mama spend more time anyway, finding the balance, exclamation point. So I guess that's not really a question. It's just seconding what
I
we're.
had a moment like that actually with my son. So he came home from school and he was, he's starting to figure out that he has a caregiver. And he's like, does the caregiver use her computer all the time like you do? And my heart started to sink for a second. I'm like, are you saying that you don't want me to work on the computer as much? Is that what? And he looked at me, he's like, no, no, mama, no. Like you work on big buildings, and he thinks that's so cool. He
There
was
you
like,
go.
yeah, exactly. So I think once they kind of start to understand what you are doing on the computer, if anything, it kind of flips it.
So it looks like somebody's asking, as a new agent, how do you get on a good team?
Mhm.
Most are looking for agents with experience.
Yes. So yeah, so I think, as much as, maybe you've been in a different career, had experience, you might still have to start out in an administrative support role. And I think you're just maybe taking one step backwards to take two steps forward.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think you gotta decide what it takes to get some sort of a position as a junior agent. And I know that with what's going on in the real estate market in New York City and across the country, there are positions available
Right.
that are entry level positions. They just are, and they're looking for somebody who's ready to hustle. And some of those positions are going to be very low base salary with some commission, and some of them are going to have only commission. But I think there's a ton of room for growth in those
Yeah.
positions.
So you're actually reminding me, Kirsten, I am looking to hire someone locally as an assistant.
There you are, everybody.
Yeah.
You heard it here. So, and you can find Krista, and she will let you know what she's looking for. I think, yeah. This is a great time. This is a really great time to get into the business in that
Yeah.
capacity, because you really can learn a lot from agents who are looking for help,
And to
looking
have
for support.
so much volume, right? That there's so many transactions now. So, they can learn much faster versus in a slower market.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Do you have any advice for agents who want to get into, I guess you could say, like, are in a similar position as you, from this mother, like from a mom in real estate perspective? Any other, I
Yeah.
guess, guiding principles before I let you go for your next appointment?
Yeah, I mean, I think, initially I did really enjoy working on site. So, in other markets that might be working for like a Toll Brothers, like, and
Mm-hmm.
basically like a model planning, a model residence in a home, new community that they've built. So I did find that to be like really a great way to manage your schedule as a mom, because you had a
Yep.
defined schedule. You had set hours, you had a defined product, you knew that you were showing up. For me, it was Sunday through Thursday. So, my weekends were really Fridays and Saturdays, and it was easy to plan around that. Ironically, once I had my second child, I actually wanted the flexibility. So having such a set schedule wasn't as easy. But I think again, like this is something you're
Right.
always going to reevaluate.
Yeah, I think all of this is like the same way childcare is never static. It's not something that, the childcare arrangement you have today, most likely in 9 to 12 months, won't be the same that you will need.
Right.
You're just always, it's always evolving. And I think the same thing happens with the way that you structure your team or structure anything in the business.
Yeah.
So somebody else has one last question before you go, which is, when you're a newer agent, should you first focus on your own brand or buying leads?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I would definitely focus on deal experience first and foremost. So if that comes in the form of buying leads, not going to lie, definitely, did the Street Easy experts. But it led to transactions, and then those transactions led to future transactions because the clients were happy. They then refer you to their friends. So really getting started being the hardest part. And as soon as you can get deal experience, if it's through a team or through buying leads, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I agree. I think that deal volume is paramount, to see as much as you possibly can.
Yes.
Anybody who says that they don't want to work on these, they don't want to work on anybody they don't know, or they don't want, to pay a referral fee. I think at some point you have to decide if it's you want to grow do you want 50% of something or 100% of nothing.
I
So
agree.
you got to start getting out there. So I am in 100% agreement.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is looking for somebody, so you should all reach out if you are looking and you are living in New York City or a nearby borough, perhaps,
Nearby
where that
borough.
would
Yes.
work too.
Yeah.
And this has just been great. I'm glad we got to do this anyway.
Likewise.
And I think there's just the beginning of a lot of these kinds of conversations. Krista and I have been talking for a long time about how to make it happen and how to do this. And I think that she's an incredible resource
Thank
for
you.
so many mothers out there who are
Likewise.
in real estate and hustling and making it happen while raising their young children.
And thank you for being such a role model on the show as well.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a great Friday, and
you too.
And we'll talk soon.